real quick, and some of the audience may not know who Byron is
Hmm.
and may not know why it's so significant um, that as to where he's at and why even schools, 30 schools, around the country wanted high schools. This is, folks, high school. 30 high schools wanted to even talk to, at that point, a freshman, right?
He was
Uh,
14.
and talk about that just for 1 minute,
Hmm.
so they'll know the significance of this in Byron and why all these football programs wanted him.
I think then the significance was they just saw the size.
Right,
Um, so they just see this kid that's 13, about to turn 14.
right,
At the time, he's like 6'7", 340, 350.
sure,
Because he put on all this. So Byron went from like 5'2" to 6'2" to like 6'7"
right,
over maybe a year and a half.
right,
And this just like came out of nowhere.
right,
The height, the weight, the bulk, and he just had to learn how to navigate like this new body.
right.
Like literally, he gets
Absolutely
a new body.
right.
Um, yeah. I mean, that's about it. He played like little league football.
Right.
Of course, he's always been the bigger
Right,
kid, but like as far as like that much bigger than everybody else,
right,
we had never experienced that.
right.
Hi guys, welcome back to Projects of the Palace. I am Brittany Lewis. As you know, we are so excited to be here today. I'm here with Roosevelt May, my cousin, and we have a treat for you today, as always. If you haven't watched our previous episodes, go back and get those gems and then come back to this episode today.
Hello, Brittany. Good to see you.
You too.
We got a treat for you today. It's something that we hadn't done. You've heard a lot about this particular person that I'm about to introduce. To me, this is a very momentous occasion. That's why I'm wearing a suit and tie, and I think it's very, very. It's time to introduce Byron Washington, Brittany's son.
Yes, yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
We want to talk a little bit, Byron, about you, and I know everybody knows you as the football player, right? Everybody knows you that you're the 15, 16-year-old, right? 16-year-old, yeah, 6'7", 370, right?
Yes, sir.
But tell the audience, who is Byron? Who's Byron?
Byron Washington is just a teenager that loves to have fun, and I like to interact with people and just have fun.
You know, one thing I know about you, and I know I'm getting a little bit ahead here, but one thing I know about you is uh, how you got a heart to serve.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, where do you think that comes from?
Just growing up with a special needs kid, my uncle, my mom's brother, and just having to take care of him from a young age and interacting with him, it just helped me be more patient and just really now I just want to have a purpose just to make them feel just as normal as possible.
Huh. You know, one thing I know is your mom, you know, your grandma, yeah, yeah, your great grandma. Everybody's got the same DNA. Everybody. I just remember growing up as a kid. My aunt, uh, your great grandma, was. I could always go to her and ask her for whatever it is. If it was food.
Yeah,
I had. She always had food, right? So you come from a long line of people that's prepared to do that. You know, uh, do you look? Can you see beyond your mother? Can you look at some of the past generations and see that that's where you get this from, or do you think it's something that started within this generation?
I get my ways from my great grandma. I'm more of a old school person. I like to drink coffee, watch the news, I get that from her. And growing up, I was always with her wherever she went.
So you drank coffee as a kid. Oh, okay. All right. That's good. Uh, talk about it. Speaking of childhood, talk about your childhood. Talk about your upbringing. What were some of the things that really impacted you and made you the person, the serving and the great person that you are today?
As a kid, growing up with a teenage mother and a mother that was in school, when we were in the Lewis Lock projects, I learned a lot. She didn't let me leave. It was this big square circle that I couldn't leave. I had a bike and a scooter, and there wasn't all the other, you can call them little hood kids. They was all over there running around, being bad, and I could not leave this square. I was riding in squares all day. So I got a couple friends. I couldn't cross the street, but I'll tell them, come up, and they'll
Yeah.
be over there for a good 30 minutes. And I'm like, man, I'm back alone again. And just growing up over there, seeing that lifestyle, and then the middle class lifestyle, going to my grandma's house whenever my mom had to go to school, just seeing how nice it was over there. I feel like it gave me the best of both worlds. So when it was time for us to get up out of there, I knew how to act. And it impacted me because it showed me, okay, do I want to live here, or do I want to live in the middle class? And I knew the projects was never a place for me. It was just a little milestone that we had to get to.
Wow, that's deep. I've talked to Brittany, talked to your mom a lot about, kind of growing up and having to transition to the projects. And do you think if you and your mom hadn't gone through what you had to go through, going to living in the projects and interacting with people in the project, do you think your life would be different? You think you would be different?
No doubt, I feel like I would be a different person. Just growing up in the projects, that's how my work ethic. Like, I knew that I always loved the work. Just knowing that my great grandma used to come over and show me how to clean up my little apartment, and just I used to clean up with her. So I feel like if I would have just grew up with our bread and butter, I wouldn't have some of the tough skin that I have today.
That's a blessing. It sounds like a blessing.
It is.
Because my grandma Nini used to say you got to go through something to get somewhere, right?
Yes, sir.
And then all the bruises and the bumps and the bruises of life, brings you to a point where you're the person that you are today. And I can tell you right now, I mean, I believe that you're an unbelievable person. Uh, let's talk about. I know you guys have moved a lot.
Yeah.
Um, what's the good thing? What's the good part about you moving a lot? And the flip side of that coin is, how do you think it impacts you negatively?
Moving a lot, the good part about moving, I'm gonna start off with the good part. The good part was I got to see all around the world.
Mm.
The Texas people, the California people, the Louisiana people. I feel like those 3 states alone makes up the USA a lot. Those are the three, to me, the big, more popular states. So in California, it was just a different type of environment. Like, it was more of like, I say, like the lifestyle you see on movies, like the sea right next to your house.
Sure.
And in Texas, I just got to see, this is where the football players are. And that impacted my decision to, like, I always wanted to be in the state of Texas, but my mom moved around a lot, so I never knew, okay, will I be here or there? And whenever it came, she told me when I got to high school, I can settle down somewhere. But negatively, I don't really think it affected me negatively. It was just in California. I was one of 3 black kids at my school, so it was just different. I didn't know how to. And then the other 2 black kids, they were just like, they just didn't stick up for themselves, so they got bullied, and I just felt so low out. I was ready to leave there.
Wow. So let's continue on this move thing. DeSoto, you know, right now you guys are in DeSoto, Texas.
So,
Talk about DeSoto. How did you guys choose DeSoto? What was it about coming to DeSoto, Texas, that was important to you and your mom and your futures?
a big impact was that in Louisiana, this like it's so small. There's no exposure there at all. And when you see Texas, okay, I knew I liked the Dallas area, so you got Duncanville, DeSoto, Sauk, Cedar Hill, Lancaster. And when I just came to DeSoto, it was just an environment of just work and want to get better. So I call him a mentor. I met my mentor slash coach,
Okay.
Coach Williams, and
Okay.
he just helped me out a lot with a lot of stuff on and off the field. And I love him to death. And he just helped me go through so much stuff when my mom was sick, from needing rides to school. That impacted my decision a lot.
So let's back up, because I'm sure there's probably a lot of folks out that's watching this podcast right now that don't know who Byron Washington is, right? They could probably tell you're a pretty big guy, right? They could probably tell you're an athlete, but talk about your football career just for 1 minute. Who's Byron on the football field? What do you do, and at what level do you do it?
I'm a offensive lineman, class of 25. I move people out the way. I mean, I really can't say nothing else. I clear the way and then pass, bro. I'm locked down. I lock down anybody. It doesn't matter. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm a lineman. I'm still young, but I'm learning on how to lead the team. And that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so talk about real quick the success. I mean, did your team did your team have success this year?
This previous year, we won state, the 6A Division II state championship. And that was a pretty big thing for us because the off season, we knew what we wanted to do, and we were very capable. We had a packed team, and just the environment. Me, I wasn't a starter myself, but I was a backup.
Mhm.
Just being around, even when it came down to being a practice, like a scout team for the defense, giving them looks.
Sure.
I was all for it. And it ended up helping me going against the varsity starters, and it just helped me emerge as a better player when my time came. And it was just a fun year. You could tell everybody had each other backs, and just the dedication and commitment. It was all there. Everything was on point. Couldn't have asked for a better year.
Wow. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
A lot of players that play, a lot of teams, he can't say that they won state championship. Especially, is it 5A?
6A.
Six. That's outstanding. This is something that I asked your mom. We've been talking about this for a while. The question is, at any point, do you want to go back home? You want to go back to Louisiana?
Definitely. My freshman year of high school, I'll never forget. I had just finished the season. The fact it was homecoming week in Louisiana. I just was on social media. I seen that homecoming. I was like, man, they packed down there. They having fun, and I'm just down here bored. Don't have that many friends, and all my friends just having fun, and that just made me so homesick that it went from that to just me. I'm like, why am I here? I lost my purpose, and I just seen a smaller picture, and I was just ready to go. So I text my mom, and luckily she didn't let me leave. She said, no matter what, you're not leaving. Because she told me once I start something, finish it.
Yes.
And me ended up not leaving it became to the best thing that ever happened to me in my life.
Wow. You just mentioned one word that most 16-year-olds don't say. You said purpose. Purpose is folks that's in their 30s and 40s, and some people in their 50s hadn't said that word yet, right? So let me ask you this. Talk about your passions. What are you passionate about?
If I had to say my passion, my number one passion, the first thing I'm passionate about has nothing to do with sports. It's about, like I said earlier, making sure the special needs kids feel normal and just to see them happy and just to enjoy them. And like in school, it's a few special needs kids. They call me when they don't want to come to class, and I just sit there and talk to them, and I walk them to class. And if they want my number, I give them that number. Even though they might not call me, I just made their day. Then second thing, of course, is football. I want to max out my potential there and just use this frame that God gave me to do good things.
Yes.
And the third thing, I like cars. I want to have a collection of my own when I get older. I love pickup trucks. That's my favorite kind of vehicle right now.
That's ironic. I'm a car dealer, right?
Yeah.
So I share that passion with you. I really love it when people have multiple cars in their garage. So, switching gears a little bit, let's talk about special bonds, special people in your life. Talk about your uncle, your Uncle Brandon and your great grandma. I believe those are really special people in your life. Not to mention your mom, but those two people especially. Talk about those relationships.
Grandma Lee, she's going on 90, and she's my best friend, my mentor, my great grandma, my driver, my my call whenever I need to get out of trouble, everything.
Yes.
And she's just been there for me my whole life, man. My mama call her, tell her he in trouble. She'll get on her quick. Leave them alone. And one time she even paid my mom to leave me alone. So she's just been there my whole life. And Brandon, I can't even explain Brandon. To me, Brandon is my mom call him my uncle, brother, friend, all in one. We grew up together at my grandma's house, and I used to come over there from the projects, and we just bonded. He couldn't talk, but he can understand what you're saying, and he's just a special kid. I taught him a couple things like high fives, fist bumps. Even now, when he comes to shout out, if ain't nobody get in that car, Brandon get in that car. My homeboys, they just be right there with him. We go somewhere. Come on, Brandon. Byron, he look like he hungry. Stop and get him some food.
Yes.
If you don't give him no food, I'm gonna get him some food.
Right.
Stuff like that. And you can tell that he's embracing it, and he just feel like he in high school.
Yes. Absolute. There's nothing like, loving somebody and that person love you back, everybody sees you as Byron, the football player, Byron that's going to go, super far in whatever it is that you want to do in your life, whether you want to play football, be an engineer, be a doctor, because you got this kind and loving and unbelievable spirit, and you're smart, right? What else should people know about you besides the obvious?
Like they should know. Even though I'm big and people might think I'm intimidating, you can talk to me. I wouldn't say I'm just the nicest giant, but if you need someone to talk to, I'm there. And just not to just put this persona in, I'm just a football player. I work on cars. I do everything. So I don't want people to just think football player. I can do a lot of things. So that's what I just want people to understand.
So your mom, obviously, I mean, you guys have this unbelievable bond. You know, if you could tell your mom anything that you hadn't told her, what would that be?
I would tell her I'm a nonchalant person, but I'm just proud of her progress that she's made and how she overcame a lot of stuff in this past years. And I just want her to know that I'm proud of her and that I would never ask for a better mom than what she is. She's the best mom ever. Sometimes I just look at her and I be like, man, really, you ain't nothing but my older sister. And I just, all my own boys, they ain't nothing but their big sisters, aunties. I just wanted to know how proud of everyone is, especially me of her, and just how much I love her.
You know, that's great. You know, what else would you like the world to know about Byron?
I want people to also understand that when, when just me being a big guy, and also you don't really have to see. I don't want nobody to put no cap on my limitations. I I can do a lot of things. I learn quickly. I'm smart. I'm like a sponge. I can soak up things quick. So I just want people to just understand that not just a football player. That's the main thing. I can be a fashion designer. I dress my mom sometimes. I like shoes, stuff like that.
You know, Brittany, I want to ask you tell us one thing, uh, that's super special about Byron that you'd like the world to know.
One thing, just one.
Well, you can tell us two or three if you want.
Um, 1, 2, 3. One thing I would like people to know is that how strong Byron is. We hadn't really gotten to this point in the podcast yet, but there was a time where Byron was going to school, handling his business academically and athletically while taking care of his mom, who was getting 3 months to live. He would go to school, come straight home, sometimes skip workout, and come home just to care for me. So that's the part of Byron that I wish people knew. I would also hope for people to see Byron that when we're driving down the road and he sees somebody on the side of the road, sometimes when we don't have a lot or we're not, living in our most or highest form of abundance,
Sure.
he'll give his last to go buy somebody else something to eat. Like, we'll completely turn the car around and go back and be like, hey, mama, if they're still there, I'm going to give them my Raising Cane's. And of course, as a mother, I always want to be protective. But I just wish people would see him for his heart, which is so hard in this world. And I get emotional because, of course, that's my child. I just wish people would see him as a pure person and just not so judgmental. People are just, he's not this, he's not that. He's been beat down so much. I wish people would take the time to lift him.
You know, we've been talking about, projects to the palace, and we've been talking about adversity. We've been talking about hardships. We've been talking about difficult times. We've been talking about how having a child at a early age would how it affected you, and now we're at a point where we really can fast forward beyond episode 1 and celebrate the young man that sits here, that we can talk about, and he can articulate how all this journey has really made him into the person that he is today. And I'm thankful to God. I praise God for that, because a lot of times those beginnings like that puts a child in a position where he's out in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
He's out doing things that he shouldn't be doing. And because of that, because of those beginnings, Byron, you get to sit here and really celebrate. We get to celebrate you. We get to celebrate Brittany, because this is where the rubber meets the road at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God had a plan, obviously, from the beginning. And I could see part of the plan as Byron is a person that's giving. He's got a big heart. He wants to go back and give a homeless person his food, right? So at the end of the day, God had a plan to bring you to a point where you had to go through that to understand it. And, you know, through football, through all the things all these mechanisms, at the end of the day, greatness comes out of pain, right? So, folks, you know, I just want to say that this has been just an unbelievable session here, unbelievable podcast. I really enjoyed talking to Byron, and really enjoyed talking to Brittany about their lives and their journeys and what's been impactful for them. So, you know, I look forward to the next podcast, folks. Go back, watch go back and watch the older versions of it, and enjoy those. And hey, we got more coming up. We're gonna go a little bit deeper next time.